Hello, friends. Every senior fears it, but few talk about it. That sudden moment when your foot doesn't lift quite high enough, your toe catches the edge of a rug, and your world tilts. In a blink, a simple step turns into a trip to the emergency room. It happens to someone over 60 every 11 seconds in this country, and yet, the real cause behind most of these falls? Almost nobody's talking about it. It's not weak knees, it's not poor eyesight, it's not even bad balance. It's a tiny muscle in your lower leg, one that quietly controls how your foot clears the ground when you walk. And after age 60, it starts fading fast. Most doctors don't warn you about it. Physical therapists rarely screen for it. But today, you're going to learn how this one hidden muscle could be the difference between walking freely or living in fear. The good news? You can bring it back to life in just 2 minutes a day, without equipment, without a gym, and without ever leaving your living room. If you've ever stumbled on a smooth floor, hesitated at a step, or caught your toe on something that wasn't even there, this might be the most important video you'll watch all year. Part 1. The missing piece in fall prevention. For most of our lives, we don't think twice about walking. We trust our legs to do what they've always done. Step, balance, move forward. But something quietly changes with age. It doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't make headlines. It starts with smaller steps, the occasional toe catch on a rug, or feeling just a little less stable on uneven ground. And behind all of that, there's one overlooked muscle making a big difference in your safety. It's called the tibialis anterior. Now don't worry, you don't need to memorize that name. What matters is what this muscle does. It's located along the front of your shin, and its main job is to lift your toes as you walk. Just enough to clear the floor, just enough to help you step over that threshold or glide across that sidewalk crack. And when it weakens, you don't even notice it right away. Your steps get smaller. You start shuffling. You start hesitating. And that hesitation, that's your body saying, something's not firing the way it used to. Here's the problem. This muscle almost never comes up in conversation, not with your doctor, not in your physical therapy sessions, and definitely not in typical exercise programs. Why? Because it's not flashy. It doesn't bulge like a bicep or burn like your thighs after a walk. It's quiet, subtle, but its role in keeping you upright is absolutely essential. Think of it like the foundation of your house. It's not something you see every day, but it's holding everything up. When cracks form, they start small, and most people ignore them. But over time, those tiny cracks become major issues. Or, imagine your car's handbrake. You trust it to hold steady when it counts. But what if you never checked it, never maintained it, and one day it just gave out? That's what the tibialis anterior is doing right now for many people over 60. It's quietly degrading while you go about your daily life, and most of the time, you only realize it once a fall has already happened. But here's the encouraging part. You can catch this early. If you've noticed yourself tripping more, avoiding certain areas of your yard, or even just taking more cautious steps around the house, that's your cue. It's your body waving a little red flag. And the solution? It's not expensive, it's not complicated, and it doesn't require any special gear. It's a simple 2-minute routine that you can build right into your day, whether you're watching the news, waiting for your toast, or brushing your teeth. The tibialis anterior may be small, but the impact of ignoring it is massive. And once you start giving it the attention it deserves, you'll begin to feel the shift, not just in your steps, but in your confidence. Because preventing a fall isn't just about staying on your feet, it's about staying in control of your life. Part 2. Real people, real struggles, Helen's story. Helen had always been the kind of woman who believed in staying active. She wasn't one for gyms or gadgets. Her exercise came from living, carrying laundry up the stairs, cooking from scratch, weeding her flower beds every Saturday. Her garden was her favorite place on earth. When she was among her roses, she felt useful, capable, grounded. But last spring, that sense of strength was shaken. It happened in the most ordinary way. Helen was stepping onto her porch after watering her hanging baskets. The ground was a little damp, the edge of the step just slightly uneven. Her toe clipped the corner. She stumbled forward and landed hard on her knee. Nothing broke, no blood, but what stuck with her wasn't the pain. It was the fear that came rushing in after it. She started noticing everything: the loose mat in the kitchen, the bricks near the mailbox, the crack in the garage floor. Places she used to walk without thinking now felt like traps. And little by little, Helen began retreating from the life she loved. Her garden grew wild that summer. Her steps grew shorter. She found herself saying no to walks, to visits, to things that used to bring her joy. She didn't tell many people. That's the thing about fear. It's quiet. It hides in phrases like, "I'm just tired today," or "maybe later." It wasn't until her granddaughter mentioned a YouTube video, one about fall prevention and a muscle called the tibialis anterior, that Helen even thought about her legs in that way. The video explained how this small muscle, the one that lifts your toes as you walk, weakens with age and often leads to trips and stumbles. More importantly, it shared a 2-minute routine to strengthen it again. Helen figured she had nothing to lose. She started doing the exercises at night, sitting on the edge of her bed, just toe lifts at first, then heel walks across the living room carpet. The alphabet tracing made her giggle. Writing letters in the air with her toes felt silly, but in the best way. It felt like doing something just for herself. Over the next few weeks, her steps felt lighter, her stride lengthened, but more than anything, her confidence returned. She walked through her garden again, not fast, not careless, but without the dread. The ground still had cracks. The porch still had edges. But Helen had strength in places she hadn't even known to look before. And she told us something beautiful. It wasn't about fixing everything. It was about remembering I still had power in me. That's the heart of this journey. Not perfection, not youth, but presence. When you know your body, when you take care of it, even in small ways, it gives you freedom. And sometimes that freedom begins with lifting your toes, 1 rep at a time. Part 3, why this muscle fails after 60. Most people don't wake up one day and feel old. It happens slowly, almost gently. A shorter stride here, a bit of hesitation there. You start reaching for handrails more often. You're more careful stepping off curbs. Maybe you chalk it up to stiff joints or just having an off day. But beneath those small changes is something real, something measurable. And it begins deep inside your legs, where your brain and your body start losing their connection. As we age, especially after 60, the nerves that control our lower legs begin to fade quietly. These nerves are like tiny messengers carrying instructions from the brain to your foot. Lift, adjust, balance. But by the time most people reach their mid-60s, they've lost up to 30% of the nerve endings in their lower legs. The result? That critical muscle, the tibialis anterior, doesn't always get the memo. Your foot doesn't lift quite high enough. Your reaction time slows. Your body doesn't always respond the way it used to. It's not weakness in the traditional sense, it's disconnection. Your brain is still sharp, your heart is still strong, but the wires that carry the signal, they're thinning out. And this loss isn't just biological, it's also environmental, because the way we live today has changed how we use our bodies. We walk less, sit more, and rely on ultra-cushioned shoes to do the work that our feet used to do on their own. The thick soles, the memory foam, the orthopedic padding, they feel good in the moment, but they're also silencing the muscles that keep us balanced. This is what scientists are now calling muscle amnesia. Not because your body forgets entirely, but because it stops being asked to remember. When we walk on flat, smooth surfaces every day, when our shoes protect us from every bump and texture, Our muscles no longer need to adapt, stabilize, or fire quickly. Over time, they go quiet. They shrink. And worst of all, they stop showing up when you need them most. Contrast that with how we used to live. Decades ago, or even just a generation ago, people moved more. They walked on gravel paths, grassy fields, uneven sidewalks. Their feet were engaged constantly. Their tibialis anterior worked on every step, adjusting with each shift of terrain. Their movement wasn't a workout, it was just life. Modern aging, in many ways, is less about the years and more about what we've stopped doing. And when you stop asking your muscles to participate in your day, they don't argue. They step aside. That's where the danger lives. Not in aging itself, but in this slow surrender to inactivity and overprotection. But here's the hopeful part. Muscles have memory. Nerves can reconnect. And the moment you begin using these areas again, gently, intentionally, they start responding. Even after years of silence, that quiet little muscle in your shin can come back to life. And with it, your stability, your stride, your peace of mind. You don't need to go back to barefoot hikes or walk 10 miles a day. But you do need to remind your body every day that movement matters. And that starts with something small. Something like lifting your toes, one careful rep at a time. Part 4. Early warning signs you shouldn't ignore. Most falls don't begin with a big moment. They start with a whisper, a small stumble here, a cautious pause there. You might not even call them falls, just near misses, almosts. But these near misses are the body's early warnings, and they're far too important to ignore. The first sign is something many seniors start doing without even noticing: shuffling. Instead of lifting your foot fully with each step, you begin sliding it forward. It might feel like a safer choice, but in truth, it's often your tibialis anterior muscle saying, "I'm getting tired. I can't lift like I used to." Then there are the toe stubs. Maybe you've caught your foot on the carpet edge more than once, or clipped the bottom of the door frame. Maybe you laughed it off the first time. But that toe stub? That's often a red flag, showing your foot isn't clearing the ground the way it used to. The next sign is more emotional than physical: avoidance. Do you find yourself walking around cracks in the sidewalk? Skipping over stepping stones you used to stride across? Choosing flat routes instead of your usual trail? That quiet hesitation can signal a lack of trust, not in your environment, but in your own legs. And perhaps the most overlooked sign, balance anxiety. It's not just about being cautious. It's that tiny surge of nervousness when stepping onto grass, gravel, or uneven ground. A second of panic when you step off the curb and feel unsteady. You may even find yourself planning routes around where you feel safe to walk. But here's something simple and powerful you can do today. Try the mirror test. Stand in front of a full-length mirror and walk toward it slowly. Watch your feet. Are you lifting your toes? Are your steps even and sure? Or is there a subtle drag, a slight sway? You might be surprised at what you see, because seeing it for yourself often sparks change. Now, take a moment to reflect. How many of these signs do you recognize? 1, 2, maybe more? If any of these hit home, you're not alone and you're not stuck. Drop the number of signs you relate to in the comments, not to call yourself out, but to call yourself forward. Because the moment you recognize what's happening, you've already taken the first step toward changing it. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Part 5. The 2-minute fix. 3. Key exercises. What if 2 minutes a day could give you back something priceless, not just strength, but peace of mind? The kind that lets you step out of the house without wondering if your foot will catch or your balance will give out. That kind of confidence doesn't come from luck. It comes from action. And today, that action starts with 3 simple movements that anyone, yes, anyone, can do. Let's begin with the foundation. Exercise 1, toe raises, the wake-up call. Sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor. Now slowly lift the front of your feet, your toes, up towards your knees. Keep your heels planted. Hold for 2 seconds, then lower slowly. Repeat 15 times. This may seem easy, but don't be fooled. This is exactly the movement your tibialis anterior uses to prevent trips and toe drags. Think of it like an alarm clock for your lower legs, one that gently wakes them up. After a few days, progress to the standing version. Stand tall, hold on to the back of a chair, and lift your toes again while keeping your heels down. You'll feel it in the front of your shins. That's a good sign. It means the right muscles are finally firing. Exercise 2, heel walks, balance in motion. Stand with feet hip-width apart. Lift the balls of your feet and toes off the floor so you're standing on your heels. Now take small, slow steps forward, keeping your balance steady. Aim for 10 to 15 steps. Rest. Repeat 3 times. This may feel wobbly at first, but that's the point. Your body is relearning how to adjust and stabilize itself in motion. These are the same skills you need to navigate uneven ground, climb stairs, or step off curbs without flinching. Start by doing this next to a kitchen counter or wall. As your confidence grows, so will your stride. Exercise 3, alphabet tracing. Mind meets muscle. Sit comfortably. Lift one foot slightly off the floor. Now, using your big toe like a pen, slowly trace the alphabet in the air. A, B, C. Take your time. This is more than a movement. It's a message. You're reestablishing the neuromuscular connection between your brain and the muscles in your foot and leg. When those connections are strong, your balance sharpens. Your steps feel more natural. Do one foot, then switch. If the full alphabet feels too long, start with just A to F. Build from there. Want to make it fun? Try tracing the name of your hometown or your favorite grandchild. One viewer told us she spells out a different word of gratitude each day: hope, freedom, grace. Whatever feels meaningful to you, make it yours. These 3 exercises might seem simple, and they are. But simple doesn't mean small. They're consistent, intentional, powerful. So if you're ready to begin, let's take that first step together. In the comments below, type 1 for toe raises, 2 for heel walks, or 3 for alphabet tracing. Pick the one that speaks to you most and make today the day you start walking with strength again. Because sometimes 2 minutes isn't just exercise. It's a promise to your future self. Part 6. Your 4-week turnaround plan. Real change doesn't always look like a breakthrough. Sometimes it looks like a quiet moment when you realize your steps feel more steady, or that you didn't have to think twice before walking across the kitchen. That's what happens when you give your body 2 minutes a day, every day. It doesn't ask for everything, just for consistency. Here's what that journey looks like week by week. Week 1, the awakening. In the first week, something stirs, not just in your legs, but in your awareness. You start noticing how you walk. When your foot clears the floor, or when it drags, you become more tuned in, more present. And that's not a small thing. It's the start of change. You're not just exercising, you're reconnecting to yourself, to your balance, to the part of your body that's been quiet for too long. Week 2, building strength. By the second week, the movements begin to feel less foreign. The toe raises that felt odd at first now feel like part of your routine. The heel walks challenge you, but in the right way. You feel a little more solid when you step, a little less cautious. That's your tibialis anterior waking up, bit by bit. And maybe you start noticing that your feet respond faster. You catch yourself before a trip. You correct your balance without grabbing the wall. These small victories, they matter more than you think. Week 3, confidence creeps in. This week, you catch yourself doing something you haven't done in a while, walking without fear. Not because the floor changed, not because you got younger overnight, but because you started trusting your body again. There's something powerful about not second-guessing every step, about walking across a parking lot without watching every crack. That confidence doesn't come from luck, it comes from work. And you've been doing it. Week 4, independence returns. By week 4, something clicks. You're moving through your day with less hesitation. You walk from room to room without planning every step. You're not clinging to the walls anymore. You're moving forward with intention. And the best part? That quiet voice of fear, the one that used to whisper, "What if I fall?" is finally quiet. Because now you have something stronger in its place. Self-trust. Part 7. Break fear with community. No one talks enough about what fear really does to us. How it makes our world smaller. How it slowly convinces us to stop doing the things we love, not because we can't, but because we're afraid of what might happen if we try. But here's the truth. You are not alone in this. There are thousands of people out there, just like you, who have had that same moment of doubt, that same stumble that made them question everything. And right now, many of them are deciding to take that first step forward, just like you are. That's why we're starting something special. It's called the 2-Minute Freedom Challenge, and it's simple. 2 minutes a day for 4 weeks, 3 exercises, one goal: to take your freedom back. But we're not doing this alone. We're doing it together. So here's what I want you to do. In the comments below, answer this question. What's one thing you'll do again once you feel more stable? Will you walk your dog without worrying? Dance at your granddaughter's wedding? Hike the trail behind your house again? Whatever your why is, write it down. Speak it out. That dream deserves to breathe. And if you're feeling bold, come back next week. Tell us what's changing. Tell us what's gotten easier. What made you smile? Your journey might be the story that keeps someone else going. Because when we show up for each other, we take back more than balance. We take back hope. Part 8. Bonus tips to stay consistent. The truth is, starting something new is rarely the challenge. It's the follow-through that changes lives. And when it comes to these small but mighty exercises, consistency is everything. So let's make it easier. Link your 2-minute routine to something that already has a place in your day. We call this habit stacking. And it works. Toe raises while you brush your teeth. Heel walks down the hallway as you head to the kitchen. Trace your alphabet while the coffee's brewing or during the evening news. Still forgetful? That's okay. Leave yourself gentle reminders. A sticky note on the bathroom mirror that says, "Lift your toes." A note by your chair that reads, "You've got 2 minutes in you." You'd be surprised how much power a small message can carry. You can also set a daily alarm. Label it something kind like steady steps or balance time. A soft chime that reminds you, this moment is for you. Even better, don't go it alone. Invite a friend, a spouse, even a grandchild to check in with you. Say, "Let's do this together." A simple text, a quick call, or a shared laugh during exercises makes all the difference. We all stay stronger when we stay connected, because in the end, this isn't just a routine, it's a quiet promise to yourself. And the more often you keep it, the more your body will believe in you again. So I'll ask you one last time. What is your independence worth to you? What would you trade for just one more year of walking without fear, of doing the things you love, of moving freely? If this message touched something inside you, like this video, share it with someone you want to keep safe, and subscribe for more life-changing health tips made for real people, just like you. 2 minutes, one decision. A stronger tomorrow starts right now.